And we're back. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the content outline and so what you can expect there. And then also just give you some tips regarding the amount of time this might take you to get things set up and you generating income, as well as the type of actions that you're going to need to be able to take. And I don't give you any specific numbers for budget. I just basically tell you expect to be able expect to spend some money getting some things together. So let me just start out with this outline here, and I will make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. So there's three main sections that I'm going to cover. The first is just a general overview of online income with some specific parts to it, then the content creation, and then the technology. And that's what scares a lot of people is the technology, I think. Let me move myself out of here. So hide video panel. So this is one of the sections that I'm going to I need to spend time on. And I could tell because when I've seen, actually, let me stop share. When I've seen, like, I got your eyes there. I have seen online people talking about doing telemedicine or telehealth, which I think is a great idea. And getting that set up now is super idea. But that you're only thinking about it seems, in one way, and that is working with people the same way you would in the clinic, and then prescribing herbs or some kind of supplements or products or things like that. And that's only one very small way to use virtual consultations. And so I want to show you that when you separate what you do in a clinic setting from the information that you don't even realize you know, and that you're talking to people about every day, you actually have a much broader range for what you can value and sell to your patients, and actually to people who aren't even your patients. So going over, um, let me get you back in here. Going over how to position yourself is going to be really important. So I am going to spend some time on that. And then the 6 ways to add online income is also really important. This is where I promise to give you that buffet, that menu of different ways that you can do it. So hopefully when we come over here to strategic planning, you can have a sense of what you think you're going to be really good at or what you're going to like doing, so you can start somewhere. And then in here's where I'm going to start showing you some of my own success, what I've been able to do. And then and this is what I'm doing right now. And then I'm going to show you the digital product pathway. This is where I started. So in 2007 is when I started with ebooks and courses and that kind of stuff. And I made a ton of money actually doing the digital product pathway. But I was crazy and I loved it. So I'm going to show you kind of 2 different streams. I'll talk about them up here, but I'm going to show you 2 different, they're not, I don't mean literal like streams of income, but 2 different pathways that you can take so that you can kind of decide what you want to do. And then the content creation ladder, this is something super fun where I'm going to show you how super easy it is to create content. It scares everybody, but it's actually pretty easy. And then the tech we'll go over so that I calm your fears and make you realize that the technology you don't have to be afraid of. There are idiosyncrasies to every type of technology out there, but I'm going to simplify it for you. All right, cool. Let's get out of here. Stop share. Oh, I'm back, but I think I wanted to be back. Hang on. What do I want to do here is escape. There we go. Okay. So now let me just read this part. Remember, we're back to reading, but you still have to look at my face. There I am. Okay. So time, action, and costs. This is the last thing I'll read, by the way. So I appreciate you bearing with me. In this course, I'll give you the steps to follow as well as recommended resources, but you have to invest the time in learning the process, and you have to take action to implement what you learn, and you have to track your results so you can improve and scale over time. This is one of the most important things actually in here is tracking your results. I'm going to show you how to do that, because if you're not tracking to figure out what's working and what isn't, you can't improve and you can never scale. And the advantage of the internet is the ability to scale. What we have right now, this is kind of like that first module of diversification of income. We're trading time for money, and there's only so much time in the day, and there's only so many patients we can see. And so we cannot scale our actual service-based business model. So the whole point of bringing in online income is to be able to scale that. So I'm going to show you how you track it, track what you're doing so that you can improve and basically once one thing works, you just kind of keep repeating it over and over. In other words, you have to put in the work yourself or hire someone to do it for you. Either option is fine, and I'll give you the pros and cons of doing it yourself or doing it for me in later modules. Please remember my disclaimer from the previous video. I'm not promising you'll make any money. I created multiple streams of income because I was driven by bills, by debt, by fear, and I worked really hard. And I unexpectedly fell in love with the process and the results. When I started, it took me about 3 months of working mornings, evenings, and weekends to make my first online income. But I didn't start making significant money consistently for a whole nother year. So I'll go into more detail in my story, but just in general, I would get up in the morning about 2 hours early, and then I would go to work, see patients. This is back when I actually had to drive to my clinic. My clinic is now attached to my home, so the commute is much better now. And then I would come home and eat dinner and rest for a little while, and then I would spend, from like 9 to 10:30 or 9 to 11 working on the computer again. And then in the weekends, I'd also be doing stuff, usually one or both days. So yeah, I was crazy. But again, motivation is an important thing. I don't know how long it will take you because there are so many different factors, but I think a realistic expectation is to give yourself a minimum of 6 months for training and implementation, especially if you are working on this part-time. Let me go back to what I was saying here. So it took me 3 months to make back the amount of money I had invested that far. And so what I had invested is $300 in the website software I was using, and that $300 was for an entire year. So I was 3 months in, but I made back more than that 300, and I was also paying for, I think, Aweber at the time, which was $19.95 a month. So I had made back those 3 months worth of that. So that's what I remember in my mind. I don't know the exact numbers. I just remember the 3-month point I had made back what I had invested, and that made me feel really good. But it took me a whole nother year to have that money coming in consistently and to have it growing. So again, I'm just trying to give you something to gauge. Now, I know that due to the current circumstances, everybody wants to make money yesterday and have everything set up. So I will try to focus on the content that will get you making money the fastest. My concern with jumping you into this with kind of the how is that you're going to miss the what. And the what is really important. And that's when I was showing you in the outline there that that your positioning is so important. It's going to determine how successful you are. So I can't skip that part. So I'm not trying to delay getting you into money making techniques and skills and everything. I just feel like that's a really important foundational thing, and I want you all to succeed. So I am going to skip around a little bit, but hopefully I'm doing it in a way that is going to prepare you to be successful. If you are frustrated and because you don't have enough patience, then you can use that time to get these systems in place to generate online income. That's obviously, you guys know that. But once they're in place, one of the byproducts is you will get more patients. Again, that's that positioning piece. I don't mind it when I have a no-show or a cancellation and I can't fill it, because I always have a to-do list of tasks for my online business. So, and that's part of the reason it's taken me so long to get to videos today. I have a to-do list that so I see patients 4 days a week, and I have a to-do list all the time. And then what I do is I have this 531 list that I call it. So I have all the things that I can do in 5 minutes or less, basically, or about 5 minutes. And then all the things that will take me 30 minutes-ish or less. And then I have everything that's going to take me an hour or more. So while patients are resting with their needles placed, I can do a lot of the 5-minute things. And that's usually phone calls, answering emails, a few little, like, if I had to change the footer on my website to 2020 instead of 2019, those kinds of things. And then there are things that are going to take me 30 minutes. Those are usually for no shows or cancellations. I get that stuff done. And then greater than an hour is typically either before work or after work or today. You will. I'll see if I can create a little PDF for you so you can see how I do that, because it's actually really helpful. And not always, but I almost always know what I need to do in any given day. That doesn't mean I get it all done. I go down the rabbit hole and get get sidetracked, but it's been really necessary for me for productivity. You will need a budget to invest in some software to automate your online business. This includes software to market and sell products and deliver them, as well as follow up with customers. Or you will need to invest in a partnership with companies that provide all of that for you. So I'm going to show you both. That's what I talked about earlier, whether you leverage the systems from a company that has everything for you. If you don't want to deal with it, that's fine, but you're going to pay for that. You're going to pay more for that. Or you can set up all those things yourself. So I'll show you both ways of doing that, and then it costs less if you set it up yourself. I will do my best to provide you with the best product recommendations based on function and price. In other words, does it work and is it worth it? Those are my 2 criteria. Actually, a third criteria is I always look at, not always, but I typically look at the company ownership, because I have run into some people that I don't like doing business with. So, yeah, I just like to look at the company mission and where they come from and who they are and that kind of stuff. The online space is small in a way, so you kind of get to know the players. But you can choose to use whatever software you want. That's okay. There are a few kinds of software that I've tried and I don't like, but I'll give you my perspective, and there's no reason to change something that's already working for you. So you don't have to listen to what I say. I'm going to give you what works for me and what I think based on my research and what I've used in my experience. But if you have something that you've been using that you're comfortable with, then you just stick with it, okay? So in summary, these are the 5 things you can expect from this course. Tone, we already talked about that. This is a respectful environment. We're going to encourage each other, inspire each other. I want us to celebrate our wins. I mean, if you learn how to use an email autoresponder, I want you to tell the group that so that we can celebrate. I mean, any little thing. We're going to be talking a lot about money without feeling ashamed. And that's because we know money is simply a vehicle that allows us to help more people so that we can do everything that we love with more joy and less stress. So for the content, you're going to get my process and steps for adding online income streams to your business. This includes what kinds of content to offer and how to create it yourself or get it from other sources. For time, you should expect to invest some uninterrupted, focused time to learn this process and complete this training. If you don't have much money to invest, then plan on spending more time to do it yourself. Action, you need to take action that might feel uncomfortable at first to implement the processes, or hire someone to set everything up for you. Yeah, I think this is the tricky part, because I just want to say one thing about action. It's the I think that acupuncturists were really good at learning. We're really good at learning. I don't know if you've ever studied life design. I'm not thinking of the right name right now, but there's something called projectors where we just love learning a lot and love researching. And I think a lot of us acupuncturists like learning. And so you have to really commit to the action pieces to do stuff. And that means feeling uncomfortable. It just feels uncomfortable when you learn new stuff. So we're going to egg each other on and really encourage each other to take the steps, because that's how you're going to succeed. And then as far as budget goes, your expectations should include to invest in some tools to automate the processes. Remember, this is the internet. You want to be able to make money while you're on vacation. So that means that automation you have to invest in. Now, I'm the queen of free tools, so whenever possible, I'll do whatever I can to help you minimize your expenses. And so this is an example, just what we're doing right here. I'll go back to get some eyeballs on each other here. How do I do this? Oh, stop share. So This right what I'm doing right now is an example of as free as you can get. So I'm in a Facebook group, right? This is free. Those units, I'm setting it up like a course. I'm just learning how to do that. I've never done that before. Free. This I'm actually recording on my computer. I do have a camera, but I'm using the free version of Zoom to do the recording. And yes, I had to pay for the camera and I have the headset and everything, but this is pretty free. Oh, and I'm using Google Drive for my documents and my slides, so all free. So that's not bad if you're going to create a course. Anyway, thanks for putting up with me. I'm really tired tonight, so I hope this makes sense. This is the end of the introduction. Now, I am going to do another video that just gives you some quick tips on things you can be doing today to try to start making some money with what you probably already have. So I'll do that, and then I'll get into the meat of the course. All right, you guys, thank you so much.